one subway stop, and then if it shuts down, you're just like, I can't go anywhere.
But now there's Uber. So have you been to New York recently?
So where?
Have you been to New York recently?
The last time I was there,
last couple of years or so?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you know if so Uber is still a thing out in New York, right?
Yeah, but since there are cabs there, it's you can really see Uber too much.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking because when I went up to Victoria, they actually, the taxi lobbyists actually banned rideshare on the island of Victoria. So there's no.
All right. How's React? You guys been practicing React or not? Yes, little bit. What about you guys? You guys practicing React or not?
Well, judging by my reaction,
I talked about React with a developer at Choice Hotels. He laughed.
He laughed. Why did he laugh?
Because I was like, components all day. And he's like, you're on the right track.
That's good. Yeah.
I did the so since you said look through the docs.
Yes.
And then I did that tic-tac-toe game.
Oh.
But
Are you
it
trying
was
to show us
towards the end. I didn't really do it myself. I just followed what they said to do.
Right.
so you did it yourself. Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah.
Well, but towards the end where it's talking about looking at the history and the past, it's like saying, right, you don't want to change the state. You don't want to the immutability is important, so that you can, if you want, you can go back and look at the history of how you made, say if you're doing a tic-tac-toe game, you could look at the previous move and then move before that if you want. That part was really, I was lost there.
Okay.
Keeping track of state.
Keeping track of
Very
state.
difficult. Getting different components to remain synced. Sort of things.
I think that's where Redux comes in.
Yes, that too.
Yeah. But that's still, even in your projects, I don't think you will get to a point where it will create a issue with managing states. But that's kind of what the Redux is for. Exact same issue that you guys are facing right now. That's what kind of Redux comes in, kind of solves those issues. Right. In a global store. We'll talk about it when we get to Redux. All right. So let's go ahead. Week 20. Only 2 more weeks, including this one for lessons, and then project week. So this week we will look at some of more advanced concepts. Hopefully everybody has been practicing React, kind of get an idea of props and state, and we'll be looking at some more advanced concepts. Towards the end of this week, Saturday, you guys will be introduced to your project 3, kind of giving you heads up. I know it's still week 23 and 24, but we want you to give more time for project 3. So I think this Saturday you guys will be introduced to project 3. But I'll talk that more on Thursday because I'm not here this Saturday. So I'll give you heads up what's coming on Saturday. Today, if you guys have seen, we'll start with our form. I know I kind of rushed through last time, so we'll start with the forms and we'll go through this activity together, and then we'll go ahead and look at some more concepts, especially AJAX rendering, the conditional rendering, and the React router. Extremely powerful and important concept, the React router, and how to make AJAX calls. Okay? All right, let's start with the first one. Troy, can you Slack out, please? Exercise number 1. So we'll start with the unsolved one, and so I'll go ahead and code this one out. We'll go through the README and see what are the requirements. If you guys want to follow, you can follow along, or you can just watch and see how this one is being done. Okay, so I already have my project, everything set up. Hopefully you guys have kind of some more templates created, so you don't have to go through the whole process again. Okay, so let's see what this one is saying. Actually, you know what? Where does this come from? Oh, okay. All right, let's see, did I copy the wrong one? Oh yeah, I don't have anything over here. Okay, we'll start from the beginning. All right, let's see, replace your React's application source folder with unsolved source. So let's go ahead and do that. I thought I already did that, but I guess not. All right, so let's go into our unsolved and try has slacked out. So let's see, copy the source folder. So I'm going to copy the whole source folder and replace it over here. This is unsolved. Let's go ahead and just delete this, and then I'm going to copy this over here. Okay, and there it is. All right, so I copied the source folder exactly, and this shows up. So this is the form with username and password. Remember from the Saturday, what we want to do is anything that you type in over here, it should show up on the top in the username and the password field. Okay, that's the activity for this particular case. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 are done. Let's go ahead and start with this one. Update this application to accomplish the following. When the user types into the input fields, the values should be captured to the component state. Okay, when the form is submitted through an alert. Okay, there's no alert right now. You see what happens when I click submit? Guys, see, kind of refreshes the whole page. So we don't want that to happen. We want to take control. We want React to do something with it instead of doing this thing. Like goes ahead and submits the whole form. So we don't want to do that. Okay, and that's what the second part is. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to close this out and let's take a look at the files that we have before we start coding this out. So I have my app.js. Looks like it's just one form. So this is it. This is the architectural app of this application. I have my app, the parent material, the parent component, and then I have my form component. So this one looks good. I don't have to make any change. You guys good with this? I don't see any change that has to be done over here. Good? Anybody disagrees? All right. So let's go ahead and concentrate on this one. Before we begin, let's go ahead and make sure we understand this code. So on my screen, I see username, password, and 2 input boxes and a button. So let's go ahead and find this. And this is my form, username, password, input boxes, 2 input boxes, and button. So all my code that is running over here is over here. Okay. Let's start from the top. I have a state. If I have a state, I need to use class component. All right, everybody remember? You cannot use a function component. It doesn't work with state. If you have a prop or a property, you can use a function component and that should be good. Okay, but for state, we need a class component. That's why we have a class which extends from component. And where does this component reside? This thing? What is it part of? What is it? React, right? It's part of this library that we are importing, and that's where it is. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. So I have state. This is already given to me. So basically, I have 2 properties, username and password, that are part of the state, and this shows up over here. Okay. So this part is done. Let's go ahead and see what do we need to do. So the first thing is when I click this submit button, an alert should come up. Okay. Let's start with that one. I think that's easier than these 2 first. So let's go ahead and start with. So if I want to do something like this, that if I click this button, right, something should happen. I should capture that event. What should I be doing over here? Which event do I need in my button? On click. All right, good. So you guys already know this. Let's go ahead and type our on click event. Now remember, all events, any of these events require a function which can only take 1 or 0 parameters. All right, it doesn't matter what event this is. If it is on click, handle change, anything to do with these events, we have to pass in a function that takes in either one parameter or not. Okay, that's the only option. Just remember that you cannot pass anything else. And if you are passing something, this is going to be an event. All right, this is an event object. Remember from the previous class, the ID thing, why we cannot use ID over here? Because this function that you pass in over here does not recognize anything else other than event or nothing. All right. So the solution for that was we need to wrap into a new method. But for now, this is good because we are calling the function that has to happen when the click happens. Okay. So we need to create a function and pass in an event if you want, and then call this over here. Okay. So let's go ahead and create this function. Well, let's go ahead and use our arrow function. So handle form submit. Let's call this. Again, what is the option? I can pass an event over here. So let's go ahead. I want to show you guys that this would be the parameter, or it can be empty. Those are the only two choices. Okay, so this is my handle form submit over here. When it happens, this should be called over here. So let's go ahead and call this dot handle submit form, and this code is complete now. Okay, just to test it out, go ahead and console log inside handle form submit. Let's go ahead and test this out. All right, so inspect console. Let's go ahead and submit. You guys see what's happening? So as soon as I click submit, I see it, but it then kind of goes away. What is it? Prevent default. Again, this is the behavior of the form. Again, from HTML, jQuery, JavaScript, I've been talking this about. Form has their own thing, right? When you click the submit button, the functionality of form is that it's going to go ahead and submit all your data to the server. Whatever. I mean, right now it's not connected to anything, but the behavior is still the same. So in order to prevent that, Blair said event.prevent default, and here's my variable. That's why I need this parameter, so I can call event.prevent default function. I hope I got this right. Let's move this after this. Okay, this will then prevent form from actually submitting or doing anything. Okay, now you see it stays over here. All right, now what if you guys look at the documentation, did you see what React calls this? Calls it controlled form. Okay, what this means is that React is saying that you take control, and I talked about this on Saturday also. React is basically saying that you take the default control, you take the control away from this HTML form and give it to React. And how do you do it? By just this one line. All right, and now this form is called a controlled form. It's just a naming convention. Why is it called controlled? Because now React has taken over and React is controlling the form. Now there's only one source of truth, which is React. Now whatever happens, whatever submission happens, React has full control over this form, and it's not going to go ahead and auto submit or do anything. And in React terms, you will see, look at the form documentation, they call it controlled form. That's what it means, that you are basically taking the control and giving it to your React app. Okay, submit is not acting on its own, like going ahead and submitting the form. All right, any questions so far? Everybody understands? So this is the default behavior of form. If you want to stop that behavior, this is the line. All right, now this form has become a control form. Your React app basically controls this form, and it's not going to go ahead and submit until you do something over here. Okay?
What was your syntax of the submit button?
Syntax in what?
Could you like just scroll down and like?
Oh, the event?
Submit button, right?
This same one, just calling this event, calling this function. This dot handle function. Okay. All right. So what do we have to do when you click submit? You have to show an alert message. So that should be easy. Let's go ahead and do a alert. Okay. Let's use the string literal syntax. So we kind of get used to that. It is backticks. All right. Username is, and then $, curly braces. I want to show the username So what do I have to type in over here? This dot state dot username. Excellent. And you always have to use state. Why? Because if you see, I mean, state over here, we understand what it is, but from the coding perspective, it's just an object, right? This is an object with which has true properties. So this is the only way you can access this, all right? Username, and let's say password, and go ahead and type in the password. Okay, same syntax, dollar, curly braces, and then this dot state dot password. Okay, and this completes this part of the exercise. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and type in something and see if it works. Okay, so it shows me empty. So it looks like I need to do something. Why is it still showing me empty? Right, because I haven't put in anything. I mean, right. Excellent. All right, you guys heard that? I'm not using the set state. The only way to have these values updated, the method is set state. You guys have been listening. All right, excellent. So set state. So I have to use set state somewhere so that these values get populated with whatever I'm typing. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on that. So my alert shows up. Once I set my state, then this form, I don't have to do anything in this form. At least I don't think so. I don't see, this should start working. All right, so let's go ahead and do the set. Now, from the previous example, when am I setting this state? When somebody types something over here, that's when I want to set. When something is being typed over here, it should go ahead and update the state with every keystroke. All right, that's the way I would be updating this username and password in this state, every keystroke. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and give these some more values. So what is the name of this? It's username. Okay, that's what I'm calling this state. So let's give this input box a name so that we can differentiate, and you will see why am I giving this. So I can differentiate between these two input boxes. All right, name. What is the value of this input box? State. All right, this dot state dot username. All right, you can skip this. I'm saying so that you guys can see what shows up over there. Simply value is just whatever you type in. This dot state dot password. Okay, next one is important. Now how do I find the keystroke? What is the event that will help me get each keystroke that is typed in this input box? On key. What about when we talk about JSX? The method is, you can't use on key over here. JSX has their own method. If this was JavaScript, on key is the right method. But right. Yep. So on key up, you can use any one of those. On key up, key down, key press. You guys understand from JavaScript? There's one more method that is on the example. On change, same thing. As soon as this changes, it will update it. All right. Try different methods. They kind of have the same purpose, depending on what you're trying to do. All right. So let's look at the on change one. Now on change, same as the click one, takes in a function, and it's going to give you an event. All right. So this requires a function similar to this one over here. So you can go ahead and copy this and then just rename it. But I'll go ahead and type this whole out so that you guys can see handle input change. Same as the bottom, it requires a event, all right, or nothing. Otherwise, it's not going to work. All right, let's go ahead and console log this to make sure this is working before we start making any changes. All right. This is my function, so let's go ahead and this dot handle input change. Okay. All right. What is it this complaining about? On change. All right. Let's go ahead and give this dot on. So what is it? Handle input change. Okay. So this should go away. All right. That's better. All right. So let's go ahead and type something in and make sure this is console logging, so that and then we'll go ahead and there it is, handle input change, keeps firing on the first one, keeps firing on the second one. Doesn't do anything, but I'm not doing anything. What I'm doing in this method is ignoring that event completely and just console logging. So that's why you see like 20, it logged in like 20 times. Okay, any questions? Everybody understand what I just did? What was that?
I heard it too.
Okay,
Wait,
Again.
scroll down. Can you scroll down?
okay. All right, questions before I move on? No, nothing?
There it is. If you have the React extension, it makes it really helpful.
In your browser?
Well, no, in Visual Studio. 'Cause
Oh,
it's
Visual
like,
Studio.
it adds things. Like when I put handle input change, like it automatically knew that it was the event that was referenced above, and it added this. I was like, oh, cool.
What did that? Oh, this.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it called? React something.
I don't know.
Or I can look it up later on.
It's
All right.
something React.
All right. Let's go ahead and now go ahead and complete this. Now, what do I need to do? I'm missing this set state, right? And this is a method that I want to go ahead and set the state, right? Before I set, let's go ahead and remember this event is coming. So event.target should have what we are looking for. All right, let's go ahead and console log this and make sure. So if I this, you see, it sends me like an HTML which has placeholder, name, and some value. Right? Oops, come on. And then it should show the same thing for your password. Why is it showing me empty? Or is it empty or it doesn't have anything? Oh, because why is it empty?
Because we're not setting this.
Yay, excellent. You guys have been following. All right. So because I'm not setting the state, I'm getting the state over here. This was why, but I'm not setting it. So this is what I want. You guys remember this syntax? Now what I want to do, I want to get the name and the value. We'll use the destructuring syntax, name, value, assign it to event dot target. Okay, so this will destructure event dot target and get the name property from it, assign it to name, get the value property from it, and assign it to value. This is just a shortcut to this. Const name is equal to event dot target dot name. Const value is equal to event dot target dot value. Okay. If you were not using this is how you would do it. So this is the shortcut to exactly do this same thing. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and set the state now. Function is this dot set state. All right. What does it expect? It's expecting an object. So go ahead and set that object. Now, what is my state? Username and password. All right. So ideally, well, not ideally, what you would do is you would say username is equal to value, right? Whatever gets passed in. And then you would say password is equal to value. All right. Why is it assigning value to both of them? Because what?
You want both of them in that way. You want one for the
Yes, but wouldn't it if this has a value of my username, wouldn't this password be also set?
There's been more
Because it's
than
going to
one.
associate to the property of that name
Yeah.
with the matching name. So because we're passing in name, it's going to look for the property that has the same name. And then passing that value.
So you guys don't think it's going to assign the same value to both of them?
Well, wouldn't it because the value is this
Huh?
dot state
What?
dot password?
Now I do, because now
Right?
you're confusing me.
No, I'm asking you.
No, wouldn't it assign different values because I mean you give it the value of this dot state dot password, so it should know. When you have this dot state dot user.
How would it know? I type in something. We'll see. I'm just playing like a guessing. We'll try to guess. If I type in username, right? What's the value right now? What is this going to get? It's going to get this value, right? Let's suppose I'm typing in my username,
All right.
right? No,
Of
go
course
ahead.
you're
Let's see.
right.
If I type in my
You're
Khalid,
right.
Khalid, I'm typing in my username, right? What's the value right now? It's my username, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now if I switch and I come to password and type it in, what's my value now? It's the password that I typed in. Am I right or not?
Yeah, you're
I
right.
haven't even right because I'm using the same. I know at some point in time these would have different values, but at one point in time both of them will have the same. You guys see it?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm reusing it, I get that. But it will have, when I type in the username, this will have the username. You see, on the top, both have been replaced by this. Okay, and it's automatically filling. Why is it filling it? Because I'm using the same thing over and over again. If I start typing the password, you see it overwrites that one. Right? Why? Because I'm using the same thing. But there's no other way to kind of skip because if you see now, my password is also going to be in value, which is correct. My username is also going to be in value, which is also correct. It's just the timing is not correct. The value that will come and why? Because you only have this value thing over here. Any input box would have this one attribute, right? You cannot create a new one and start using it and kind of determine that this is going to be this is going to be this. So what we need is like an if condition that if it is username, then set this value to username. If it is a password, then set it to password, something like this, right? So the easy thing is what is now. Do you guys understand what is coming in the value? Whatever I type in is in what's coming in the name. Whatever I put in, or right? No. Name. It's not the keystrokes.
No,
It's the name that we assign the target.
The name that we assign to our input box. This input box has a name of username, and this input box has a has a name of password. It's just a name that you're assigning to. Again, this is HTML. It has nothing to do with React. Remember, there's an attribute name. You can assign that name to differentiate between these two. It's kind of like the ID thing, right? You want to differentiate. Oh, this is my password box and this is my username box, and that's what it comes over here. So you see, if I'm typing the password, my name is password. If I type username, what's going to be? It's going to give me the username box. Okay, so this is now think about this. This is one differentiating factor that if you're typing in your username, you will get in the event you will get the name username. If you type in password, you will get the name as password. All right, now look at the code. What am I getting over here? What are the two possibilities that I get in my name over here? Username and password. All right, username and password. Now I need to use this to differentiate which value to set up. If this name is username, I need to set the first one. If this name is password, then I need to set the second one. Is everybody following? Right? If this is name is username, I need to set the first one. If this is password, I need to set the password. All right. So I mean, technically you would, I'm thinking like a if condition or something, but you cannot put an if condition because this is an object, right? So ES6 kind of comes with a property that we saw. What they do is, let me comment this out so you guys can see it. Remember, just like curly braces, square brackets, value. What is going to happen? Anything that is in square brackets, this is going to be evaluated. Evaluated to what? To whatever is assigned. So now what happens? First time when I type in something in the username, what is the box? What is the name of this box? Username. So my name is going to have username. This will evaluate to username. If this is password, this is going to assign it to password and assign the value correctly. So this time, I should have different states. You see that? I'm not setting the password, so this comes over here. It will only set the username box because this is being evaluated to username. Same thing as this, but this is kind of like the if condition and it makes it easier for us. All right? Now if I type in the password, this gets replaced with password and that's why I only see the password. You guys see it? Very important, this thing, the square brackets property. This is, you will see this a lot in forms, and this is how you differentiate. And this is the reason I gave name at the bottom. Remember I was saying I'm giving a name, and this is the reason. It has to be identifiable. Like how do I differentiate between these two? All right, question. Yes, ma'am.
So was it supposed to be working correctly the first way the stuff is commented out?
No, it's not going to work correctly, right?
Oh, okay.
It's replacing the stuff.
Right, yeah.
Right. It won't ever work. Yeah, unless your purpose is to override the previous one, then it works. But yeah, it's not going to work because we need some kind of a condition, and this is the condition that comes. You cannot put in if statement because this is your object. This is the way that you would do it. Okay. Questions? Good. I can tell you guys like totally zoned out on Saturday because we did this on Saturday as well, but that's okay. It was towards that.
First of all, I don't remember.
Towards
that.
that's what I'm saying.
Right at the end.
You don't remember
I have
a lot
all
of
the
stuff.
codes.
So,
Like, wait a
so
minute.
yeah, yes, Jill. All right, hold on. There's a question. Yes, Jill.
So do we just check the username? We don't have to get the password as well, because it's gonna still do that password.
Yeah, why? Because now when you type into the password field, this name will become password, and this will be replaced with password, and you'll get the right
I
version.
just know.
So you just use that small little code.
That's it.
It.
Right. That's it. Right? Because we cannot use this, then you're overwriting, you're hard coding that this has to be username, that this will be replaced. But in this case, you are saying that, oh, if it is username, assign it. If this is password, assign the password. You're kind of replacing it. Okay, just like a variable, yes.
And now the set state function makes it set before you even push submit. No? Or is it after?
What was that?
It's after it pushes submit that it sets that, right? Or is it as you type? You said it was as you type.
Yeah, this is as you type it because I'm doing this and handling it.
Okay.
So if I don't set it as soon as you type in, I won't have anything to submit or do anything. Yeah, by submit, I should have my state updated. So now it shows up the submit the username and password. Okay, why? Because I'm using this dot state and my state has been set up. Okay, any other questions? So this was the form exercise that you guys totally ignored on Saturday.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed. What was that?
My computer died.
Yeah,
So.
ignored it.
We
Huh?
ignored that 4 minutes, so we went through.
Touche, touche.
I was like, it was like 20
10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes.
All right. So again, now go back and do this exercise also, and the one on the Saturday, same thing. All right. It's this is the same repetition of what we did on Saturday. So both are the same, but that's what the form is. Again, React has a if you look at the documentation, they have a section of form. Go ahead and take a look at that section also. So we did this, there's this, we are over here. So forms, they have whatever I talked about, they have same thing over here. So go ahead and take a look at this section also. Okay. Now we will jump on to Ajax. How do we make Ajax calls from our React app? What was that? The JavaScript?
With JavaScript.
The JavaScript?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see how do we use JavaScript to make our call. Let's go ahead and start this. Oh, this is a really interesting one. It does. It's really fun. All right. So let me go ahead and run the solution that's already. Oh man, can I run the solution or not? Let me run this solution before I go through it, so you guys can see what the screen should look like, and this is the same that's on your GitLab exercise. This is number 2. This is number 2. Okay. So the final product looks like something like this. Let's see if it shows up. All right, this is the final product. Okay, so what is it? And this is actually coming from your. I'm making a Ajax call, and the data is coming back. It's using the Giphy API, and that's what we need to build in. Okay, so you have a search box on the top. You type something in, search for it, and then it shows up here. Okay. Oops. All right. This is my UI. This is I want to build. I want to make a React app for it. So let's go ahead and find the components. How would you divide these components? So let's start from the top. We have app, and then how many components can I divide this in? Search. Excellent. I have my search, and then results. Excellent. All right, you can see it. So I have 2 components from the app. The search, which is the top one. So my search will have my search box and the search button. And my result has images and a list of these images. So basically, the first one will have my search component, and results. Okay? Everybody good with this? All right, so that's what we are going to construct. Now, there's activity on the web page, right? There's interaction. So this means, what am I using? Props or state? State, right? There's activity, there's interaction. So definitely I need to use state. All right. Now, which components does the state have? Does my search component have a state? Huh? What is it, Jay? Right. And then I have to click this button and do something, right? So there's activity. So I do need state in my search component. What about the result component? Do I need state over here? No? Why not? How are you going to show the list? Props? Okay. Let's talk this. So props. Now where does props come from? Parent, right? Does my parent has this data? Where is this data? Huh? State up to where? Up to the app. All right, you guys see? I need this data. So This is, you guys said is going to be props, but this component we know this needs state. Why? Because I need this result grid, or we have to draw this. Right? Where's the data going to come from? Right? You guys are saying it's going to come from app, and how is app going to send? It should have a state. That's how it's going to send this as props over here. Okay, this is the exact concept that's called lifting the state up. I wasn't actually going to say that, but it's actually, if you look at the documentation, it's called lifting the state up. So what you are trying to do is, if your component over here also requires a state, and a component over here also depends on that state, but these two cannot talk to each other, right? Now, what does result need? It needs, when you click the search button, it comes with the result, and you need the result to be passed over here. Can you pass it from search to results? You cannot. There's no way to do it, right? So the only way is that you keep the state on the top to the common parent, and then you pass these as props to whatever is required. Right? So your state is only going to reside on the parent component. Okay? And we saw this example in Saturday also. If you open one of the app files, you will see state being mentioned over there. Okay? So this is what you do is, if you both need the state, you kind of prop it up, you kind of send it on the top, and then you send props to each of them. Now the only thing over here remains is your app is going to be clouded with state and functions and all that stuff. I like to keep my app file kind of clean. All right, so when I open my app, I should be able to quickly draw the architecture, what's going on. If I look at my app, I know that I have a search component and I have a results component, and this is what is going on. Okay, if I want to do that, what you will see is you can introduce another component over here, right, from your app, and this will have the state and whatever, and this component will talk to each other. Now, all your code kind of resides in this component. Your app is still kind of clean with just calling this component. Okay, so you're it's the same code, it's the same strategy, you're just introducing a new component. Okay, why? Because you want to keep all the state code over here, and your app file kind of remains clean. Okay, so app file will only have this component, and it doesn't know what else is going on, right? Now this component, this kind of a design pattern, is a design pattern. This component is called container component. So you will see in your exercise, it's called search container. Again, you can use app, you can forget about search container, it doesn't matter. You can put everything in your app.js, fill it up, state and everything. The only thing is, it won't be as clean, and whoever opens your app.js will be like, oh my god, what is this going on over here, right? They won't be able to understand what are the siblings, what are the children, what's going on with your app. So that's one of the design patterns that exists is, you create like a common component which has the state, and this component is generally called a container component. Okay? Now, any component like this one that is using state is called a container component. Any component that uses just the props, like these ones, are they using state anymore? No, right? It just has props. So these are your function components, right? I don't have to create a class for these, because these are going to receive the state as props and just show the thing, right? So these are my function components, or these are also called presentational components. Why? Because these are just presenting something. They're not doing any real work. Presentational. Well, I shouldn't say they're not doing real work. They are doing some work, but what their work is, they're kind of like a dumb component. What they do is, they just get values and they show on the screen. That's all they do. They don't care about the state. They don't care about what's going on. It doesn't matter. They just get the data and they just show it on the screen. So these are kind of called presentational components. Okay? Any questions on the design pattern? Okay? So now you guys know how to code it out. Please go ahead and code it out.
One question.
Yes.
What did you say lifting the state was again?
Lifted the state was, we were talking this architecture through, right? We were saying the search components needs a state because there's some activity, you type it in, you click the button, right? Your your results also need a state. Why? Because it's showing the list. There's some activity, right? So they both need a state. Now, the result that comes back in this component as a state, you need to pass this to the result component so that it can show those pictures, right? Now, can you pass this state to this state? You cannot pass. There's no way, right? So what we do is we raise this, we take this state component and put it over here.
Okay.
And this state can be passed and props to here and then props to here. That's called lifting the state up. Lifting the state up to the common parent. What is it? Okay. So let's go ahead and code this out. Quickly create one. You guys start doing also, and I will I'll work on this as well, or you guys can see. It's up to you guys. Okay, so this is what I have. Should be a React app, and then I'll go ahead and create some components. Come on, why are you so slow? All right, components. Okay. Wow. Oh, now there we go. Okay. So we need 3 components: search, result, and search container. So let's go ahead and create 3 components. Search. I won't create folders because I'm just keeping it simple. Won't be using any styles over here. We'll just see if we can just use the Bootstrap. Let's call this result.js. Okay. Search, result, and search container. Okay, so now I have the 3 components and my app. Which component does my app needs to know? Container. That's it, right? Okay, excellent. So let's go ahead and stub this out so that we can call this component in our class. Right. So this is going to have the state. So I need to make it a class component. So go ahead and stub the class component part out. Import React because this is default, and then I need a component. Am I typing this right? Yeah, why is it not helping me? Oh, I'm missing a comma. Okay, let me close this. All right, and then class, let's call it search container extends component. Okay, and let's go ahead and do a default export default search container Okay. If this is a class component, what's the function that I need? Render. Excellent. So I need a render function. Let's stub this out. Let's go ahead and return some JSX for now. Just a empty div. We'll come back and fix it. Okay, so that it doesn't complain. This should be good. No errors. Let's go ahead and update our app component. I don't need all this. Okay. I need to import my search container from component/search container. Okay, and then over here search container and then close it out. Okay, this should be, I don't have to make any more changes to my app.js because from my diagram I just need this, and As far as app.js is concerned, you see this is clean, done. Anybody who opens this code, they're going to go and look into the search container and see what's going on over here. Nice and clean. There's nothing going on over here. All right. We'll close app.js and we'll work on our search container. Okay. Let's go ahead and stub these one out as well. Now result, I said it's going to have only props, so it's going to be a function component, right? So go ahead and create this as a function component. React, okay. No need for, what is this result? No need for component. I'm going to get some props and then export default result. Okay, what does this need to return? Some JSX. All right, so stop this one out for now with divs. We'll come back and fix it. Okay, so this one looks good. Let's go ahead and complete our search. Right, search is going to be the same thing, just change the name. Search props this, return export search. Okay, same thing over here. Now I need these in my search container, so let's go ahead and import slash component search. Search, and then I need result from result. Okay, so I'm going to import these two and show them over here. All right, let's go ahead and let me go ahead and add the bootstrap so that the form kind of shows up. Bootstrap for CDN. Link. Where's my public index? Let's add it over here. Okay, and I have my bootstrap added. All right, so this is done. Let's go ahead and start with our search form. So from the output, you remember it's going to have a search box, okay, and then a button. So let's go ahead and create our form variable. From our previous exercise, create a form. Okay, this is going to have, let's see, what are the classes on our form group? Is that what's called? All right, let's use the form class name form. So form has a bootstrap class of form group, and then let's give it a label. Okay, this label will be our search box. Okay, and this is and then next is our input. So let's go ahead and you can look at the input and these from the previous example also. I'm going to copy those properties from there. So we had our name, we have our name property. Okay, what else was there? Value. Let's give it an ID also. We need a value. It's going to be something. Okay, it's going to be a text, and then we need our event on change, right? We need to pass in something here. I'll come back. Placeholder search again. Call this. Okay, we'll have to fill this one up. Won't be anything in between, so let me go ahead and read this. Okay, these are the parameters. We'll go ahead and complete these now. Let's go ahead and add this class as well. Okay, so that you can see it nicely. All right, my value is empty. Now, this one doesn't. Which one am I doing? Oh, did I do this right? It's not the search container. It's the search one that I have to do. So, right, because my search has this box and everything. It should be over here. Okay, that's right. We'll go back and fix that one. Okay, so I'm completing this one, then we'll go up to it. Now my search one is receiving props. Okay, there's no state, so my props should have some something. What should it have? Let's call it search. All right. Right now I haven't defined anything, but remember props. I can pass this is going to be an object which will have a property. For now, let's see. We'll go with the search property, and we'll make sure that from our search, whatever is typed in, we get that text and then pass it over here, and we'll call it search. That's why I put as a placeholder search. So right now it won't work because we are not passing anything. Okay. And then on change, again, it's a props, right? So where does the on change method exist? It should exist over here, right? I cannot have the search, I cannot have any input changes, any handle methods over here. Why? Because this does not have a state, right? We have pushed the state up. So all those methods, properties, everything resides over here. So we will have a method, we will have to define a method which says handle input change. Same method that we saw in the form exercise just a few minutes before, right? Handle input change. But this method, where does this exist? It exists in the parent over here. Why? Because this one we are saying this is not going to have a state. This is not going to have a state. This is the one that's going to have a state. So the component, the class component that has the state, kind of have all the functions, values, and everything. You can just pass them as props over here. So basically, you are saying there's going to be a method handle input change, and your parent, go ahead and call that function. That's what you're doing over here. So why is it complaining? Oh, okay, yeah, I need to remove these. Should be nothing. Okay, so this is again, this is just like a presentation, like a dumb controller. It doesn't know what this is. All it knows is I'm going to get this object and I need to call this function when on change happens, and then I need to populate whatever this search object has. Okay. The last thing is the button. So let's go ahead and put that button here. Button. Okay. It's going to be search button. Let's copy the class so that it shows up like a blue color. Let's see. Class name. Okay. Now, what does the when I click this button, something should happen. So I need a on-click event. Excellent. So let's go ahead and code the on-click event. Oops. Same as your form method that we saw in the previous one. Okay. On click is equal to, you need to pass in some method. Where is the method? Where does the method exist? And props. Excellent. You guys are getting hang of it. So props dot handle form submit, handle form. I'm using the same naming convention just like the previous exercise, so that you guys can compare and see it's the same kind of same functionality. Okay. Anything else over here? So I got the form, one input through the search box, a button, and that should be it. Okay? Everybody good? Questions on this one? Again, you can see it's not really doing anything, right? It's just using the prompt and kind of showing the values. This thing has to be coded out in our search container. Okay? Let's go ahead and do the result. All right? So what should the result should have? What was my component? Should have images, multiple images, right? What is that? It's a list of images. All right, look at the map method. Take a minute and look at the map method and see how would you make the assumption that you're going to get an array in your props. Call it props.results. Okay, your props.results will have your images. Okay. And then what you have to do, you have to show these results in a li, in an unordered list. Show them in your list, and it will have. Let's see, what should it have? Result dot title and result dot images. So each one would have an object called images and title. And this is coming from, we'll make the Ajax call, and in your, if you guys remember from your homework, the Giphy ones or exercises, it's the same thing. You're pulling these fields out of it. I think it's called images and title. Yeah. So what it is called. Okay. But you can just put in, write the map method, and then do the li. We can come back and fix the properties once we are clear when we make that Ajax call. So what do I, yes?
When you say this component extends component, not the
Oh, okay.
in the class.
Yes.
Component. Why isn't it React that component? Was that the old way of doing it?
Why is it, no. Why is it not React or
Oh,
token?
because
Tell
of
me.
that, yeah.
Because of what?
Because you said import React component. Okay.
Somebody was at least listening, I feel better. Yes, that's the reason. If you remove this thing, then you have to mention React dot component. Okay. So it's going to be UL, and this is going to have list the map method and list of stuff. How do I write the map method? Start with this because JavaScript code, so I need this. And our assumption is props dot will have results array. Okay, and then map method. Why can't I use for each over here? Joffrey, why can't I use for each over here?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking
Okay, why? You didn't miss much. Why?
at no.
To make you
I
feel
got the
better.
gist of it. Put it
Why-
in the container, or in the container.
No, I get it, but why I'm using the map method? Why can't I use for each? I want to loop through this array that comes in. Why can't I use the for each loop? Why am I insisting that I use the map method?
I don't know. For each loop.
Ivana? Updating it, yeah? I can update it for each also, can I not? I can do the same thing for each. I can update the what I'm doing over here. I'm going to map through each one, and I can add a list. I mean, I can do update, but that's not the exact reason I'm using that. Jay?
Because it comes up in the title and name, and it comes up for everything.
You can do the same with for each also. Remember, for each map and filter, all of them have the same requirement. They expect a callback function, right? And they give you value, index, and an array. So all of these are same. So if you get a value over here, it's the same thing. Value, it will be same in a map. It will be the same in for each. It will be the same in filter. What else? Jess?
I'm just going to
Kyle to the rescue. Yes, and because I'm creating a new, remember, for each does not return a new array. It just loops. It's void. It will not return anything. Map and filter return an array. Why do I need map over here? Because I wanted to do something and return this return over here is expecting. It has to draw something. If your UL, if you use for each, this will be basically empty. You know, this will evaluate. This is JavaScript, right? In curly brackets, it's going to evaluate. It's going to return nothing. It's going to return you an empty array. It's not going to do anything if you use for each. So your UL would just be an empty ULs. But you need something to come by. You need an array, and map and filter are the only two methods that would return an array, right? So you need this to evaluate with something, a new array. Now filter does not return the exact array. It kind of reduces the size of the array. Map is the one that will manipulate the results but give you the exact number of whatever you are passing in, and that's why I need the map, because I don't want to filter anything out. I want my results to come in and then do something, but it has to return something. That's why I cannot use for each. For each will not return a new array, will not return anything. It will just loop through it. You guys get it?
Yeah.
Said the same thing on Saturday.
I'm
Long.
No, I remember it. I remember it because I was scarred.
Right, you actually ran into that issue, and that's
Yeah.
why. Yes.
I was running into it. I was
Right.
trying to do a for each and it wasn't doing anything.
Right.
And I just changed for each to map and it just worked.
Right, and this is the reason.
You mean welcome to ES 2015?
Yes, 2015. Yeah, that's the correct name. All right. So result next is just use li elements, and then you can put the images and title. Let's go. I mean, I can see it over here. That's so I'm just going to use the same names. But once you use the Ajax and the JSON object, you can see what they're actually passing. Right. So I have what is there? Each alias is going to have an image tag. Okay, and image should have a source. So source is going to be my result dot images dot original dot URL. Okay, now where is this coming from? This thing. Again, remember from your Giphy homework, you should be able to recognize that once you parse the JSON object, right now we don't have it, but once you parse it, it's going to be in this value. Okay? We'll come to that. Right now, it doesn't matter. You can put anything over here, but the important thing to note over here, you that build this component. You can come back and fix this if it gives you an error. But the point is that this should be there. So I have LIs and I have images inside my LIs. What is it?
But that source there, it changes based on the website. So that's why we were saying that you have to come back and fix it.
Changes based on the result. Changes based on the result. Remember when you call the Giphy, it gives you a JSON object.
So it may not be results.image.original.
Yeah, it might be something else. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is what it is, but if it doesn't, we can come back and fix. That's not the important point over here.
Okay,
Yes, but yes. Yep, you're right. Yes. We can come back and fix it if that's not the case. Okay. All right. Let's see, what do we have here. Let's add some class names. It kind of looks nicer in our li. Okay, this is your Bootstrap class name on the li tag. What else do we have? Remember, if you don't add key, it was giving us error on Saturday. I should have stopped saying I did this on Saturday because it doesn't. Oh, that's good. Okay, so you guys only remember the things that you guys are doing.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that?
All right.
He was the one that was, I remember.
All right. I should stop. I should stop coding over here and just let you guys tackle it so that you go. Oh, I remember this now. All right. This is the image. I'm just adding some Bootstrap classes that I see. It shouldn't make any difference other than making it look nicer. But the source is the important one. And what else? Um, result.title. Okay, this is just the alt text. For in case the image doesn't show up, it will show you the title. Okay, these were all the fluff, but the important part is how do you read through, and then how do you get the images out of it. And I did this because otherwise my linter keeps showing me error. It says, hey, you need to add all, you need to add a key, you need to add this. So that's why I completed it. Okay. Any questions before we move on? This completes our result class. Again, props. There's no. The only thing is you are looping through and giving it a new array. Questions? Good. All right. Let's go ahead and now we need to do the real thing in our search container. Okay. All right. So in my div tag, what do I need to do? My search container, on the top there is a search form, so I need to call this, and then at the bottom I need to call results. All right, so let's go ahead and call those two. Since I have two components, both are siblings, they need to be in a parent div tag. That's why I need the div tag, otherwise JSX will start complaining. So import, I already have search, so I need search on the top, and then after search I need result. Okay, and you see already my search form shows up. Ooh, it's giving an error. Let's see the error. Return UL. Let's go back and see. So I have a UL. What's wrong with my UL? What is it? Outside what? It's outside the close? Oh no, that's... No, this is for this one, this is for this one, this is for this one. Did I see the error issue or something? It shouldn't change anything. It's just having. Where's the close for which one? I have not defined it. Oh, I didn't see that. It says cannot read property map of undefined. Okay, so this is a valid error. I was looking at this line. I was like, what's going on? Well, what is this saying? Who can tell me what's going on? There's nothing. Excellent. So in my map, it is saying that this array map, whichever array you're calling map on is undefined. Why is it undefined? I haven't passed anything, right? I need to pass a props over here. Right now, it's nothing. You can pass a empty array, and that should fix the fix this error. So let's go ahead and comment this out for now, so that we can at least see our form. Okay. So that's how you get your form inside your search container. All right. So what do I need to pass in as properties? What was the? That's one. I need the value and on change. Excellent. So let's go ahead and pass those in. All right. So search. I need to pass that, and then I need to pass handle, input, change. Okay. All right. So I need to create these two and pass it over there. All right. So this is the. Let's go ahead. I mean, this is a class component, so we already know this is going to be a state. So let's just go ahead and create a state variable. Okay. And then I need to pass in search, and now it's empty, and then I need to pass in array of results. Okay, so this is the array that I need to pass over here. So if you pass this, and that should fix the issue for this. All right, how do I fix this red thing? What can I pass in over here to fix this? Super simple. Excellent. And that should be good. All right. For this one, let's go ahead and create our method handle input change. We'll just copy it from the forms. It's, you guys agree? Is there any change between this and the form one? Still doing the same thing? I don't want this. I want to use the cool one. Const name value is equal to event.target. Okay, and same thing. Now I can pass over here this dot handle input change. Right, so this is complete. What else? Let's go ahead and complete our. Now when I click the search button, right, in the forms example we were using the form submit. Let's go ahead and copy. Let's go ahead and create that one. So it was handle form submit is equal to event. Just do event dot prevent default. We don't want this to do anything, and then this should complete our, what is it, handle form submit event. All right, and let's go ahead and now we can complete our results as well. Right, what do I need to pass in over here? Excellent. So it's going to be results. What is that? I know what I was. Results is equal to this dot state dot results. All right, and now you have results. Now you shouldn't see any errors. Okay. The only thing remaining is now that we make an AJAX call. Now for making an AJAX call, you guys remember what you guys used in NPM? Axios. So let's go ahead and use the same Axios, and for that let's go ahead and create our API folder and put our API inside it. All right, same kind of strategy from the previous from the second stage. So let's go ahead, call utils, create our API.js file. Okay, and then we will put our API content over here. All right. You guys did the require import. This time is going to be import Axios. Okay. From Axios. Do I have Axios installed? No. So we'll have to do a npm install Axios so that you can start using Axios. All right. I'm going to just copy this URL from the Giphy one from some of the previous exercises as well. You guys can go ahead and use your own API keys. I'm going to use the one that's in the instructor one. Okay, so this is my URL and this is my API. Now here's interesting. Here's a newer, a little bit kind of, I like this syntax. So export default, same concept. You're exporting something, but you can export an object also, right? So you can export multiple functions inside it. So tell me what just happened. Query, and then return axios.get, and then what is it, base URL plus query, and then pass in the API key. Okay, again, you guys remember it's an object. Object can have properties and functions. I'm creating a function in the property called search. Why am I not using the arrow function? Inside an object. Thank you. All right. You don't use arrow function inside the object. Remember, it gives an issue. It doesn't work as it is supposed to be. So that's why I'm creating, and I'm calling this. So now you can go ahead and import API file in your search container, and then you can access this. How? API.search. If you have another method, what do you have to do? You can just create another method. Let's say log message, right? As many functions as you like, and then this is just a test method, and then you can message return. This is our message. This is message dollar and then message. Okay. So you can write multiple functions. I just wrote two just to show you guys that you can have many functions. An object, you can have any functions and properties, and you can export all of them at the same time without having to give a particular name. Okay, so let's go ahead and import this in our search container. All right. Let's go ahead and import this first, and then so import from my dot slash utils folder, and then API. Okay. It's a default, so I can call it API. Should work. Okay. Now what do I have to do? I have to do API dot, and then it should give me that function. All right. Now remember when we were on the web page, when I showed you the solution, what happened? As soon as I go to the web page, it was filling up Giphies, right? Right. In jQuery, what do we say when the page loads, right? And that's what we want to show. So same thing. React also has kind of similar thing, and these are functions that are defined, and these are called lifecycle methods. All right, look up lifecycle methods in React. These are the functions that come built in with React. Have you seen any lifecycle method? What is it? Huh? Right. But have you seen any? What about this one? Yes. Render function. You guys think about where this render function is. You're not like randomly creating. This is part of React. There's a lifecycle method called render, and this is called by React every time the page is rendered. Right. Similar to that, there's a method called component did mount, and that's a component that's kind of equivalent of jQuery when you say, oh, I want to when the page loads, do this. Right. There are a few more component. You see all of these. Did update, will mount. So I'm going to show you this one, and then you guys go ahead and look into the other ones. All right. So in this case, what do I want to do? I want to load from my API. So what would I do? I would say API dot search. Example skiddings. Okay. All right. Is this enough? Now this is coming back to your API calls, your get calls. Huh? What API? All right. Well, if you look at your API, what is it returning? It's returning axios.get. Will this work? Remember how axios work and async calls? This will go ahead and execute and forget about it, right? It's an async call. It doesn't return the result that you're looking for. It returns a promise that is going to come back. It's an async call, right? So we need the then function. You cannot use axios.get or anything. Remember from your previous classes, you have to have a then function or like a callback function to get the result. All right, so we can, it's the same thing. You can use the then function over here instead of over there, or you can use it over there. It's up to you guys. Async call dot then function, and your then function is going to have the result. You should have your callback function result. Let's go ahead and use our arrow functions. And what am I setting? This dot set state and set the results. My results array to result dot data. So this I'm looking at the example. Looks like that if you parse the JSON, it has the result in your data. Okay. Cannot resolve Axios. Okay, no worries. Let's go ahead and install Axios before npm install Axios. Come on. Hopefully this works. Ah, there it is. All right. So this is how you build an Ajax file. Then you can type it in. It should go ahead and search. All right. Any questions? Yes.
When you, why don't you have to use the constructor here? Like the constructor props, super props.
Excellent question. So, Ali went to the documentation. Actually, she read it. So she's asking, why aren't we using the constructor over here? All right. So the other part is if you have a class, then you have to declare a constructor. And then what she saw was we had this dot state mentioned over there. Well, there was a super props, right? Actually, we didn't. We did not. There's a reason, and you have something like this here. So what is happening? In our ES6, it's actually part of like ES7 or ES8. It's even more. Go ahead, yeah. But React is kind of nice about it because they're using Babel to convert all this code into ES5. So the newer syntax is if you skip this, by default, the class will create a constructor behind the scene and it knows it has to initialize state. So it's a short form to write this. When you just use the state, without the constructor, use the state keyword. Yeah, this is a shorthand way. Behind the scenes, this will go ahead and create the constructor, everything for you. If you put in the constructor, then this is not valid anymore. You have to use this dot state. This is not going to work. Yes.
So the component did mount, that's like a React.
Oh yeah, that's a React.
I remember I watched a tutorial where we talked about the way to get past that is just make sure that all of your functions that you're making yourself, just make sure they're arrow functions, and that should bypass that sequence.
Bypass what?
So you see how the handle input change, how that's an arrow function?
Yes.
If you made that a regular old-fashioned function, you might run into that problem. So you would need to make.
Oh, that's a good question. Yes. So here's what Blair is also saying. So there's another person who went through the documentation. Remember the bind thing I was mentioning? You will see the keyword bind in the documentation. Okay. So if you are using the constructor and if you use a constructor, you have to use this dot something, and then all the functions that you declare like this, you have to put the keyword bind. Otherwise, your functions are not going to work. I mean, just trust me. There are the reasons. The thing is, this form is a shortcut that is. They came up. They said, "Oh, ES8, this is like redundant. You know, everybody kind of has to do this bind and this dot." So what they did was, if you do it like this, behind the scenes, it will create a constructor itself. Kind of, it knows what to do with. But the thing is, it has to be these names, these two. I mean, this is part of React. This is part of React. These are your functions, so that will work. So again, I would encourage you guys to follow this syntax. Again, that's kind of, if you guys are interested, look into it. It's because the bind, you will see a bind property over there, and then you will see these being used as this dot state. Again, this is, I think that's a little bit more challenging. This is kind of easier syntax. For now, start with this. Once you get familiar, you understand the concept. These lifecycle, the important part is these lifecycle methods over here in the render. Right? These are part of React. And there are a few more lifecycle methods. Look at the documentation, learn to use them, and then you can go back and see. You can put a constructor. The functionality will remain the same. There's no change in the functionality. This is just a newer ES7, ES8 syntax. That's what it is. All right. All right. Let's take a break, 15 minutes, and then you guys come back. There's an exercise doing the exact same thing. If you did this one, it's good. If not, take a look at that exercise. And then we'll look at the router and the ranging part. 8:15.
Okay.
So like you create create all that
Oh, that's cute. Yes. Uh huh. Okay. And you're routing. Okay.
I wasn't real sure. I went to
Here's do you want to check with Nick or Troy? Again, I have not looked at the homework. The time it would take you to explain it to me, they probably have seen this before. I think they helped. The Randy had something similar. Nick was pretty was able to fix it. Okay.
Fixed for it, but it was just it said all this. It was like, oh, deploy it, and then all of a sudden I got an email saying you didn't deploy.
Nothing in the logs.
When I went to do it, sorry.
Did you check the logs?
Yeah, so that's what I was checking, and it said that's what was my issue was it was the logs. Yeah.
Like writing to the logs was the issue.
Let me see. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah. Again, the only reason I'm saying is you will have to explain to me, and I'll have to sit and see. But these guys might have quicker answers. It might be something really small.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I don't want to waste your time by explaining the whole thing and going through it. Check with them.
Yeah.
If not, then we can sit together and see.
Yeah, it's saying the work next to
Yeah, I should also do the homework maybe next quarter. What homework you guys do? I should go and do the homework also.
Show us up. Show us how it's done.
Show you guys how it's done. Well, you guys are fine. It won't happen right now. You guys, one more homework is remaining? I think that should be good. Maybe like next time. Oh, you guys are going to get good news on Saturday.
What is the good news? You got a great
Oh.
Huh?
On Saturday, yeah.
I don't even know how to get to any other floors. Like,
They're going to come in and they're going to give you key cards to everybody. That's what I heard. I don't know. That's what I heard. It might not happen.
It's because
yeah.
we're leveling up, guys. That's why.
So, next Tuesday I'll be standing outside without any key card. Hey, how do I come up? That's what I heard.
Are we gonna get it?
Well, now our stuff works, but with the other thing, we finished with completely down again.
Yeah.
That's the reason why it was built on that stuff. I'm glad I didn't
So, fill up. See where, line number 5, and I will click the continuing map. Where does this graphic go? That's not being Then they're done
In
that.
your app, so your source file that you have created isn't inside of your application. So you're going to, so that's why, because if you look at this, this is like what the default React application is. That's why it's loading in this. So you just need to move this. Not going to sources, but use your Ajax. It's going to say that you should move. And then it's like this already exists. You want to replace it. Replace. It says that it seems they
Oh, this was something, so I wondered what you had to do. Yeah, this is what I did, so
so you want to get rid of this.
Stop. It's exactly where the road is. So it's not there. I'm sure it's gonna be really dumb. This is not possibly.
It looks like it is compiling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just
So when you create it, you create it
so when I create my app, so I just go so like I have my projects directory, I've just got like
No, let's say
I do it outside of that folder. Just so that way I don't have to worry about there being like conflicts or anything.
this is my
So,
Yeah, you do like git pull and everything.
and then I copy paste it.
I would
This
do
is my.
Okay, so you do it. Okay, you do it. Okay. So then,
And the next exercise, I will want you actually. So should I just do all or just like what would be your best?
so I just have like for right now, I just have like an entirely different like directory where so like right here, this is the one that I'm working on right now, and so I just get rid of the stuff in here and then just drag over the stuff from the one that we're supposed to be working on. So I just like I would just hit delete and then copy paste.
Wow.
Because I don't like moving them around in here
Yeah, I
because
know, I got so
you get-
confused.
cause, yeah, it's hard to see like what's
Okay,
where.
so, like, let's say I have now, but that's what I attach, but I won't have to.
The way the word works
Yeah.
is, it
So
basically
you're
goes
just saying
to
you
the
have to
environment
create
assigned
someone else's.
Yeah, so like I've got I have the AZ Go right here, so I just copy and paste this stuff in the source directory over into the source directory of my app. Yeah, so you can't have them close together, but I don't really. It doesn't really matter one way or the other where you have your React application. just as long as you're making sure that you replace the stuff in your React application as SRC with the SRC from the source folder that they protected.
Okay, so if I, let's say I have, so this is the folder that I have. So if I go to, let's say,
Obviously,
then I just
unless you have your own
Into your React. So just show me what you need.
yeah, so
Okay, so you're not even using it.
everything else.
So you can really just that. You could have done that.
So right now,
So you just do, parent folder, and then you do the.
Oh, is that?
I think this one is number
Oh,
3.
am I?
Is,
Am I? Yes, so it's Ajax,
yeah, it's exactly that. Yeah, it's another Ajax. That's what you do that thing.
well, yeah, it won't because
I mean, I thought about that, that's, you might have to replace it, but.
So,
What I'm doing is actually. The ones.
there's a lot going on here. No, I mean, you're right.
So what I like doing is just in your file explorer, just open up where this is, wherever this is on your computer.
So, and then, just go.
No,
When you do deploy the grocery though, give it a minute to sometimes it's not consistent. And so, it usually takes, about a minute before.
So here's your React application, the STU Ajax, and unsolved has the files that you want. So
Yes.
you might want to open up two windows
What is it?
for your file browser, so that way you can have
Hey, Nick, can you Slack out the number 3, please?
yeah, just one in unsolved and one in your React application. So you can just drag them over. So you can either
So we are working on number 3,
either right click right here, or you can even
unsolved, yes.
right click like open new window. Yeah, that's the source and unsolved. So open up your React application right now. Alright. And yeah, drag this over. For not onto it, but over like on here, and not into source. Because yeah, you don't want to put source into source. So you're going to want to don't put your source into the source. You need to replace. You don't want source inside source. You just want one source.
That's why yours will probably work. It should maybe mine access the root modules folder, and probably folder. But yeah, you can ignore the or you can more than enough. Yeah, that's exactly right. Go to your process deploying. Send out an article. The iOS.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, native is referring to the iOS deployment.
Right. Oh, okay. Which one am I looking for? Oh, so he's using React Native. Yeah, I don't want the React Native one. That's React Native, the one that you posted. React Native.
I installed a few different ones and just didn't help me. How did you get, like, I was trying to install ES and so it would just automatically run the project. It looks like yours just automatically runs like any project that you have.
It's kind of annoying at times. I think
No,
it's.
good. You don't ever have to do it again.
I did it when we did the project week, project 2. What are the instructions? I followed the same thing.
Oh,
I don't have any instructions.
okay.
I just say.
I think I changed configurations on this. I gotta go.
All right, so we are on exercise number 3. Work on it for 15 minutes, and then we are going to move on the rendering part, conditional rendering. Similar activity that I just showed you guys. You have to create an API. Just the URL is different. Also, 8:30. We'll start on the next one. Nick has stacked out the activity, so go ahead, read through it, and kind of work on this one.
Sound explanation of what a giraffe is. I knew that's where you were going. I used to work with this guy. He's like, I'm gonna get rich one day. When I'm rich, I'm gonna buy myself a giraffe and jet. Okay. So I'm gonna live across the street from you, and I'm gonna have a pet giraffe. And yeah. You were in the fight, you were just gonna ride him around town. Because that makes one day. Oh, she was. Immediately George.
Yes.
Why does the template for the React classes
What is it? When you create a React app? Yeah. So the unsolved one. Yeah, that's okay. We don't need those CSS files right now, but at some point when you are doing your project, remember the index is correspond to the index.css. So the boilerplate requires it because of the fancy atom thing going around. Yeah, that's why they have that CSS. But for these exercises, you don't need it. That's why. Yeah, they like they want this spinning thing. That's why they. Oh, I was like, what do you guys have to do in this? Everything looks done. Yeah, yeah, right, right. It took me. I was like, what? Everything is there. Oh, you have to write the on component on mount method. Oh, that's why it has like 10 minutes. So just you have to add component did mount and call this method in it. That's it. Mm. Oh, you have to install XCS. That's a big deal. Mm. Handle input change. Oh, those two methods also. Okay. Handle input change and submit. So 1, 2, and 3 functions basically. So just look at the previous solution. It's on GitLab. Same thing. So basically adding 3 functions. Component did mount, and then completing these 2 functions. Handle input change, you can see it doesn't exist, and handle form submit. So you have to create those over here. Then 5 more minutes, and then we will start the next session. Yes.
The, in the API, the in the login function,
Uh-huh.
it has to be responsive resume. It can't be anything else. Like if I put this out of there without.
No, it doesn't matter what you call it. Same as a callback function. So it's basically a callback function. It's an arrow function, so that might be confusing, but this is the callback function. You know, you can put result, res, r, whatever you call that function. These in this way.
But then that would have to be data.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You can do that a bit. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a very good move on. Right, 2 more minutes and then we'll start on the next one. All right, you guys have any question on this particular activity? This one. So you have to create three methods basically. Component on mount. You will basically call search movies in that method. So this will, every time your page loads, is going to call this one. And then at the bottom, if you notice, you have two more methods. Handle input change, handle form submit. Are exactly the same that I showed you guys, or the form ones. Same thing over here. On handle input change is for this one over here. As soon as you type in, right? So that you have to search. And handle form submit is for this one. So when somebody clicks search, goes ahead and calls that method. All right. Any questions? All right. Let's. What is it? Oh yeah. Go ahead. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's not a huge question, but just so because I've seen before that like when you do the this dot set state that say you're just setting what the result is.
Mhm.
But do you have to also put the search property in there also just because you have to?
You don't have to, but what's going to happen if you don't put it? It's not going to update your search.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But we want it to be updated. Why? Because anything you type in, that state will never get updated. So that's why you will see that it needs to, this search, this is the search property. And where is this going? You are taking from the container and you're passing it to the one of the components over there as a props. Same architecture that we solved. You are taking this search and passing it to which component are we passing? Search form. Okay? So if you don't set anything for search, the value over here will always be empty. That's why you see that when you're doing set state, you're setting the search as well as the results. Otherwise, this property will always be empty. So when you click search, this won't be getting passed.
Okay, yeah. Because so then, like, I would still see the movie poster there because that's the result. Like, it worked when I did that. When I just put in results. When I just did this dot set state and only put the result property in.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
But then, in that case, the search would not be updated.
Yeah, this will never work if you don't pass in the search. The movie poster shows up because are you doing the component did mount?
Yeah.
Right. So what does component did mount do? It loads when the page loads the first time.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you see the movie poster because you're calling that search API and you're saying, hey, go and find the matrix. That's why it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
After that, if you're not updating this search, you're not updating this search over here, right? You need to take this text and pass it to this component. If you don't set this, this will always be empty. So you won't be able to search anything. Does it make sense? So that's why we need to set this search somewhere. Maybe you can do it separately, it's okay, but in this case, it has to be done in the same, when you click this button, when you type something in the handle input, that's where you're setting the state. I would think so, that's where you're setting the search. Is that correct? In your handle input change, that's where you should be setting your state. Is that correct or not? What you guys did?
The search.
Yeah.
The search, yeah.
Okay. And then when we click this submit button, then it's taking that search from the state and then making that API. Okay? All right. So the next exercise is number, Nick has already selected out. Number 4, give it a try. See what it is. It's nothing new. It's using the same concepts, understand the code, and go ahead and kind of fill out the components that it is asking. It has nothing to do with, don't confuse this with router or anything right now. We are not there yet. We'll look at the next exercise. For this one, it's still whatever we have learned. So I would suggest run the unsolved first and see what shows up, and then start using it. Go ahead and add this. This is conditional rendering. So I'm going to add my see. And run the unsolved. Okay, this is what shows up. Based on this dot current page, render the appropriate component. The components are all already built for you guys. You just have to call them. Let's see, at the top of the page of the Bootstrap nav. So let's start from app. Okay, so app is nice and clean portfolio container, so I don't have to worry about app anymore. So this is where I need to go. Let's see. Oh, okay. So let's draw this out. So I have app and I have portfolio container. Okay. It looks like I have nav tabs. Tabs. Let's go into nav tabs and see. Okay, that's where it stops. So portfolio container, nav tabs. Based on this dot state dot current, render the appropriate component here. Okay. The nav tab actually eventually will have, what are the components? About, blog, contact, home. About, contact. All right, let's see. So everything has to be done in the portfolio container. Now add the code to portfolio container so that depending on the currently selected page, a different component is rendered. Okay, so like a if condition. Let's see. Take a look at nav tabs also. I don't think you have to make any code changes over here, but make sure you understand what's going on over here. There's a lot of stuff going here. So I have my nav tabs, these on the top. And then it has a link to hash home. There's an on-click method. And it's putting some nav links. So this on-click method is actually calling a handle page change. Okay. So I have a class name, and these are all A tags, looks like. And then I have a href for each one of them. And then I have on click event. So every time I click this is the method that should be called. You guys now recognize the syntax. What's going on over here? It's a function inside a function. What is it? You are passing through, yeah, because I cannot pass anything like a string or a number, right? Because this only accepts an event or nothing. So that's why it's wrapped around the function. Okay. So in portfolio container, you basically need to write some, I'm saying if condition. So if conditions to see if the current page is this, then what do? You return that component. Remember, your nav tab has this, should eventually have this, and this. The if conditions would be if current page is equal to home, then go to the home, load the home component. If the current dot state dot page is contact, go ahead and load the contact. Similar to that blog, and then about. So basically over here, you're writing your if conditions. Oops. Right? It's a if condition, so I need to wrap it around curly braces, and then you can go ahead and start writing your if condition. Better way would be create a function and call that function over here. For example, you can create something similar like handle page. So you can say render page arrow function empty. I don't have to pass anything. And then over here you can write your if conditions, and instead over here just call that function, just like this dot handle this dot. So basically just put your if condition inside over here. Again, this is a better way. It's a dry principle, kind of makes everything look nice and clean, but basically what you're doing is you still have to write those if conditions. Anybody wrote the first one? What's the first condition for home? If something equals something. Awesome. Just don't say that inventory something. Alright, if Joffrey suggested. Do I have the syntax right, Joffrey? Alright, so what's my condition? That was in the text, right? Alright, that's a good start. If this dot state dot current page. So if my current page is, what is it? It's home. Excellent. Then what do I need to do? I need to do what? Render the home page. Return. Excellent. Why do I have return? So this function is going to return home page, right? And what am I doing? Basically, you are doing nav tabs, and below nav tabs you have home component, then you have your blog component. But this is kind of hard coding. That's not what we want basically. But on the fly, these are being rendered, but these are based on the current page now. But eventually, this is what's happening. But this is kind of hard coding, so we don't want that. Instead, what we're doing is we're saying if the current page is home, okay, then go ahead and load the home page. If it is not, if I click something else, and then else if this dot state dot current page is about, then just return about. Excellent. Yes. Why not? You can. Excellent. You can use switch case. That's probably a better one. Yeah. Use a switch case. Does the same thing. So what happened if I click about? It should take me up to about. There it is. Okay. Go to home. Goes back to home page. Why? Because it's going to render based on what was clicked. Complete for blog and contact also same thing. Does that make sense? Any questions on this? Simple if condition, there's nothing. You are based on what the current page state is, and the state is already being set for you. You don't have to worry about setting the state. This is, if you look at the code, well, you have to worry about. You have to understand how the state is being set and where is this being changed, being set. It's being set in your handle page change. Now, where is this handle page change? It's over here. Okay. So your nav tabs have a method that is going to switch your pages. The next step would be to go into your nav tabs and look what this function is doing. See this method over here on click? Basically, it's aref, and when you click this is the method that gets changed. You can even get more fancier and kind of highlight this. Like if I click home, right? You can't really tell if I clicked home or not, so you can make it bold or something. What you would have to do is you have to update this, right? Class name, nav link. If this is the home page, then I think the class is active link or something. Change it to active link. Otherwise, keep it nav link. That's kind of the bonus part. But that's getting fancy. The important part is understanding this part. Okay, any questions on this? So this is basically like a starting point for routing. So you see, if you have multiple pages in your React app, you're basically creating routes. If you see on the top on the URL kind of changes to whatever page you are trying to go. Okay? So this is a very rudimentary routing procedure in React. Okay, now the problem with this is, if I copy this and give it to you guys or open it a new tab, see what happens. It still brings me back to the home page. So it is kind of routing, but it's not really doing correct routing. Because if on the browser, I pasted about page, but it still took me to the home page. Right? That's the flaw in this. I mean, it's a simple if condition. You can't expect more. And why is this happening? Because if you see your component did mount, it's actually loading the home page. Where is it? It's basically setting your state to home always whenever the page loads, right? So that's why it kind of brings you to the same. So that's one of the issues, drawbacks with it. Like it works, but it doesn't work very well. You give the URL to somebody, host it on Heroku, give this URL, it will still bring you back to the incorrect one. Okay? Yes?
Okay. The echo sometimes it's when like at the bottom of the page when you're setting an attribute like handle page equals, and then it says this dot handle page change. Yeah, like there it just says this dot handle page change, but then below that it says this dot render page, and then it has the parentheses. When do you
When you pass a reference to a function, when do you actually call?
like why? Is it just because it's an attribute there that you can just say this dot handle page change without any parentheses there?
Oh yeah. This is your. Oh yeah. Remember the.
It's because when you're passing attribute, you're passing
Yeah.
reference to the function.
Right. And this is not again. Remember, this is not. The name is different from your JavaScript, but remember in JavaScript also you call like on click method, and then you pass in a method without any arguments. Why? Why do you not pass anything? Because this is expecting a function which is going to have either event or optional. There's no other thing you can pass in, right? So it's kind of redundant to have parentheses, because if you pass in like this event as part of the attribute, it knows that there's only two options that can happen. Either you can pass an event or you can pass nothing.
So that's the only reason why it's just because there's no argument that you're passing in?
There, even if you pass an argument, you don't need to put in. That's the JavaScript way. Remember, even in JavaScript, you had those on-click events. How do you pass in a function? You just put a name over there, right? Just put in a name. You don't pass any arguments. Why? Because it is always going to send you a events object or not an event. So there's no other. There's no other possible. You cannot pass anything else.
Yeah, so just when you have that kind of thing where it's.
Right,
okay.
right. And this is only valid because these are the attributes also, and these are part of the attribute. This is the custom function that I have created, and this is outside the attribute. It has nothing to do with the attribute. It's actually outside the, it's between the div tags, right? And over here, this is necessary because, of course, this is JavaScript. It won't render unless you put it into curly braces. Okay, so that's, yeah. If you're passing in an attribute, no parentheses necessary, same as JavaScript. Remember, go back to your JavaScript, you will see when you have the on-click event, right? You're passing in a callback function, right? You just say on-click handler or something, and just stops over there. You don't pass in anything. Because by default, it passes nothing or an event. So it's kind of, I think that's like the syntax, because they know, JavaScript knows that nothing else can come in whenever there's a on-handler method over here. You don't really have any chance to pass anything else. So this is just like the syntax that they have. It's not. The reason could be, what I think is because you can't really pass anything inside it. Just event or nothing. Okay, so just remember, yeah, attributes, any events tied to this one, this is how you do it. And this is how you are calling it. All right, so that was the drawback for this one, right? So let's look at, you guys have heard about React Router? Right, that's, again, that's not part of React, but it's a third-party library that somebody else has created, but it is talked and it's almost tied to React. Like, you won't find a code that doesn't use React Router. Okay, and React Router came out because of the issues that they were saying they didn't have a good mechanism for routing to your web pages. That's why they have React Router. Again, it's a third-party library, so you have to install it. Npm install React Router DOM. That's what it is called. And then this is what you have to do. All right, let's take a look at it. And let's create a quick, small React Router project. Let's see. Okay, this is going to be. All right, so let's go ahead and series React Router npm start. I need to install React Router DOM. So you guys can go ahead and install that because we definitely need that. Now let's see, what do I have? So on your Git, I'm going to use the previous example, and then we are going to convert that into our React Router. So I'm going to copy the nav tabs. Let's go ahead and just copy the pages. All right. So I'll create the nav tab. So these are my components from the previous one. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to come back and create nav tabs for you guys and see. So right now I just have pages from the previous exercise. And then let's go ahead and update our app.js. So I need to update my app.js and add a nav tabs. That's what it was called, nav tabs, right? Okay. And this is empty for now. We'll come back and fill this up. Okay. Let's clean this up. Two more. Okay. Don't need this. Don't need this. All right. So I have my nav tabs. Let's stub our nav tabs out. So in this example, it was a function component, right? So let me just stub it out. React, function, nav tabs. Okay. Let's go do a return. Add a div tag. Okay, and then export. All right, everybody got this? Same example. We're going to rewrite the nav tabs. I copied the pages. There's no change in the pages, so we don't have to worry about the pages. Just going to load up. So I copied the pages from there, and we are going to update our app.js and nav tabs. Okay, so look at the documentation. They have a really good example. We'll be following the same one. The first thing you see, import from React. This is from the React. The second is import browser. Just Google React router, and it should bring you. Select the web documentation. It should give you the first example. All right. Import browser router as router route, and so we need all of these. Okay. What's going on? What is browser router as router? What does this do? Why do they have browser router as router? What do you use to? What name do I use? Browser router, router. Router. So why do I use router? What's the reason? Why are they doing this?
Something from React.
Oh, just Google the React router and look at the basic example yourself. No.
From
Listen.
React router. The browser router. I mean, it seems like it's saying like whatever, if it picks a router, a link, it's just saying that it's associated with that browser.
Yeah, of course. That's what it. Again, it's not complicated. I'm just tricking you guys. If what it is saying is the library, the component is called browser router, but they are renaming it to router so that you can use this router in your code. That's all they're doing. Okay? You can rename any of these to anything you want, and you have to use the same. That's what they're doing. But they have called it browser router. It's kind of difficult to type in, remember. So usually you will see an example, they're just changing to router so that you can just keep reusing the router keyword. Again, this router does not exist in the site. There is nothing called router. It's browser router. But since you're renaming on the top, so you can use the keyword router. Always remember that. If you skip this, you have to use browser router. You see, browser router is kind of difficult to even talk about.
So that's instead of doing another line that says let router equal browser router.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's all it is. And that's why you will see an example saying router. Again, router, there's nothing router. There's no component called router anywhere in this library. You are able to use router because they're renaming browser router. Okay, everybody understand that? All right, so go ahead and import, but before we import, we'll have to install. So go ahead and install npm install React router DOM. Npm install React router DOM, and then we'll go ahead and use the router. copy the same import from the example. We don't need link in this file, so we'll just use these. Okay, let's fix this. This goes away for now. All right. What else do we need? We need our nav tabs. So import nav tabs. Import dot slash components slash nav tabs. All right. Nav tab. All right. So now I have my router installed. Let's do npm start. Make sure no errors. All right. Looks like no errors. So let's go ahead and start coding this part out. Okay. Now look at the documentation. The next part is creating this routes. All right. You have return, then you have the router keyword. All right. Then you have the routes that you are trying to do. So that's we'll follow similar thing. Was this the one? No, this one is done. This one. Okay. So we start with router. Oops. Okay. And then within router, you are going to have all your routes. So let's start with a div. Put inside everything inside a div tag. All right. So what are my routes? They are in my nav tabs. Right. Same as the previous example. Right. Load the nav tabs, and then we'll go ahead and load our. Well, it doesn't show anything because my nav tabs are empty right now. Okay. Now the second is you define your route. Again, you see these are what are these? Router, route. What are these? Components. Excellent. Yes, thank you. These are all components. You see, even React router, they're using the same concept. These are all components, but these are third-party components, right? We didn't write those. Somebody React router wrote those. We are just calling these components. So your same concept, same thing. They come and load over here. Excellent. So these are also components. Let's define our route. Again, look at the documentation, and you will see how to define these routes. You will see you have to define a path. This is the first attribute. So slash means my home page. Whenever somebody comes and types my website without anything, that means that's my home page. And which page do I need to go? Remember the if condition. Instead of if condition, they have a attribute called component, and then you mention the component that it has to go. Home. Why is it complaining? Oh, excellent. Yes, I didn't import it. So import slash components slash pages. What is it? Dot slash components slash pages slash. Oh, is it a folder? No. Okay. All right. Again, oh, it already worked. All right. So this is how you define when you're using a React router, right? The first important thing, load the component router. That has to be the parent one, right? Within that, this is our custom one. We'll get to that one. But how do you define your routes? Path attribute and the component attribute. Path will define whenever your website comes to slash your home page, what component do you want to load? The home component. That's what happens over here. Why? Oops, why is it loading this one? When I come to this, it should load the home page. Okay. Now you will see another attribute over here, exact. If you had to take a guess, what does this mean? Exactly. If the path is exactly this, then go ahead and load the home page. Why is this required? So let's suppose I have another. Let's go ahead and create our about page. About, what do I need to load? Oops. Come on, there should be some auto import thing. soon as I write something, it should.
That would be too easy.
You guys create an extension where it loads everything. How about that as a project 3? What? Come on.
That was a tall order, but let's do it.
I mean, why not? Let's do it.
All right.
Come on, class.
So now if I don't have a so if I type in about, goes to my about page. All right, you see this? Now if I remove the exact, please observe what happened. This is fine. Okay, when I type in about, what happened? So the path is it's this is inclusive. So route will match all the paths that kind of have this syntax. What does it mean? Now your path is /about, right? /about matches / also. It also matches /about, and route will take all the matching and put everything together and show it to you. It won't stop at the first one and be like, oh, I found it. Never mind. I don't have to do it. No. Right. It's going to load every single page that it matches, and /about matches both of these. Why? Because there's a slash. There's a route, and then there's a route called /about. To stop that, you mention exact, which means that only go to the paths which are exactly like this. Oops. Okay, now you only see the about page. Alright, so always remember the exact keyword. If you are having trouble, if you're giving a different issue, it's probably most of the time it's this one. I ran into some issue as well, and the fix was exact actually. Okay, any questions so far before we move on to the next one? Good?
Well, what did you do to get the about to show? Because I could get the home page to show, but then when I do it, because I was working on the old.
I imported.
I imported it.
And then I did over. This about is already created for you. Okay. Now the next thing I will do is I want to show the tabs on the top. Remember from the previous example, and for this you have two options. You will see links. Oops, and nav links. Remember you're importing these links over here, right? This link component, and this is what it has. You use this attribute and you kind of show where do you want to go, right? So this has to be in our nav. Let's create one li here. So import from React router DOM, and I'm going to import nav link. Okay, and over here I'm going to create my nav tab, which is going to have so from the previous example it was UL I'm looking at the previous one. Let me know if there's anything that doesn't match. So they have a UL, right? And then within the UL there are a bunch of LIs, right? So, and then the class name that has been used is nav item. Let's see. There's the first one coming up. Oops. Okay. That's my first li. Class name nav tabs, and my li. Okay. Now in this, you are going to create nav link. And this nav link is going to be your home. Okay. What class am I missing? Why did it show up like this? I need to hold my breath. Come on. Thank you, Michael. No, really. I mean, maybe. All right, that should be good. Wow, what happened? I just disappeared? Are you kidding me?
Oh,
What did I do?
something. Just get rid of the integrity. Cross origin.
It's not even doing Control Z on this. What? What happened? What did you say?
I said I told you to download the install the
Oh yeah, npm package. No, but why is my bootstrap not?
You got rid of it now.
No, I know. But as soon as I put in it, like, oh, there it is.
Or
All right.
only about.
Oh, I was on a wrong one. Oh yeah, I don't have that. All right, so my nav tab shows over there. Now this is what, instead of the link, our HTML component router comes with nav link, and that's what we are using over here. So if you have a tab bar on the top, look into nav link. Now there are two. You will see link and nav link. Both serve the same purpose. They will create a link like you see on the top. The only difference is in nav link you can pass in CSS classes. Okay, link doesn't recognize the CSS classes. Nav link recognizes the CSS classes. Remember the difference, and you will see why. So first of all, let's go ahead and fix this. Look at the documentation. Same thing, you have to pass in a path, because right now if I click anything, nothing happens. So I have to tell when somebody clicks this, where do they have to go? Exact. Let's remember our exact to, and then go to the home page, right? So anytime somebody clicks this button, it should go to the home page.
so it has to be exact in this as well.
Exact reasons as well, yeah, because we are going to put the about one, and you're going to run into the same issue. All right. So this will work. Let me go ahead and add a about one also, so that we have at least two. Same thing, li component. This is going to be a boot, and then all right. So now I have two. They're kind of close together. You guys can fix it. All right. So now if you click the about page, it takes me to the about page. You guys saw that? And then if you click the home page, it takes me to the home page. And then the good thing about it is if you copy about and paste it in a different browser, since it's a React router, it will actually take you to the correct page. Okay. What I was saying is you can add some classes to this as well. So you can add a nav link. So that will fix this issue. All right. Let's see. Okay, this is nice. They have an attribute called active. This is not available in your link. If you're using link, you cannot use this active class name, and that's kind of nice one. Why? You will see that this will change based on what is selected. You see this color and all this changing. This will not happen unless you have active class name set. Attribute, again, this is all CS. You can read about this. Is extra stuff that I'm doing it, which I shouldn't even do it, but it kind of helps. Yeah, so these are possible. Again, the difference is nav link functionality, exactly the same thing. You can replace this with nav. The only thing is you won't be able to use these CSS classes. So I would prefer just to start with nav link. And this is a new addition in the newer version of React Router, and we are using the new one, so it's already out there. But same as link. The purpose is that you should be able to create a link when somebody clicks it. It should take you to some web page. All right. So the React Router has basically a couple of portions. So the first is the router, right? You need to use the router component on your app.js, and then within the router you need your route component. Okay, to create those routes in your app.js. Okay, and then there's a nav link or link. If you want to create like a tab, or you on even on your page, if you have some links, right, somewhere over here, link, right, you will have to use one of these so that it kind of has that linkage with the routing part. Okay, any questions?
A few.
Huh?
A few, but you know,
A few?
I'll just keep them in time.
No, don't let it out. Let it out.
No, I mean, I got it like, I see, but it's just doing.
Okay. So this will come with practice. There's an exercise. I mean, start on that exercise. I won't post the solution. It's a really, really good one. It's almost like a homework project, to be honest. It's called Pupster app. It will take you. Yeah, it's called Pupster. It has everything that we studied today from the beginning. We did the form. It has the form. It has Ajax calls. It has these routing component. Everything is there. Okay, so look at that exercise and then connect the dots, bring everything together. But make sure, please go through that exercise before the next class. Next class will be adding the missing link. What's the missing link in this app? There you go, database. We're going to use database and we're going to use Mongoose and connect everything, and you'll be ready for project 3. Okay, so start the Pupster app, and until 9:30 or however much, whatever time you guys are here, give it a try. Start on it. Again, don't worry about the CSS part of the Pupster app. Okay, don't worry about the CSS part. Look at the functionality first, and see what is being asked. And then, once you are done with that, then go ahead and do the. Then do the CSS part. Okay, so you have 3 routes. Take a look at it, what routes you have to come. Kind of make an architecture, see how many components you think there would be. Which one would be a state component, a class component versus a function component. And then how are you going to use these routes to kind of come everything together. The solution is actually super fancy. I would not recommend.
Well, thank you for that.
Okay,
That's
don't do
no. If you can do it that way, I mean, I'll show you the solution. You'll be like, what? It's nice, but it's like.
It's overkill for a pub.
Yeah, I mean, if you have time, I think the person who's writing this solution, this is the job. So they're like, well, I'm going to add this also. I'm going to add this also. Let me show you guys. You will see what I mean in a minute. Let me. No, that's what I'm saying. Start on it. It's not going to get completed, but work on it. I'm not going to post the solution until the next class.
Nick said, come on, man.
No, he said.
He never says what the working app looks like.
Yeah,
Wait,
show the working app. So I'm going to show you the working
So
app.
that we can understand what we're shooting for.
Right.
To go home and try this.
Yes, there you go. Here's the working app. You see it? You like it?
Visualize it.
Oh my God, what happened to my working app?
Don't deal with it. Throw him a bone. Give us the bone.
Throw the bone.
Yeah.
All right, Pupster app coming up. Be ready for.
I'm ready for all the pups. Yep.
Look at that.
Oh,
Look at the
that's
professional.
good.
This thing.
It's not that much overkill. Well, actually, it's entirely.
I mean, this thing. Come on. I mean, this is like
It does look like a
professional level kind of deal. Huh? Oh no, I meant like the layout and everything. It's like
Pupster
I'm not doing this.
You're not gonna show us the
Hmm? What is it?
Look at that one. Non-CEO.
Oh yeah. Well, again, the layout and everything. I mean, if you guys did this on project, that's like the better layout and all. Look at that. Capture app. There you go.
Way different.
I mean,
Open source dog pictures.
look at that. Look at that. There's a drop down.
Wow.
Wow. See?
A cockapoo. Oh.
See? I wasn't joking. This is like weird.
Give us an Aussie show. Uh-huh.
I don't see it.
There's all these weird Apple pictures. What?
Just looking at the website.
I know.
Sheep.
So anyway, take a look at the exercise.
Sheep. Sheep. S-H-I-P. No, it's the Doge dog.
Sheepdog?
It's the Doge dog.
Which one?
No, Shiba. It's the Doge dog. It's not the Shiba. It's a Doge. It's a Doge.
Alright, next if you guys want to search, you have to create this on your own. I'm not going to search anymore.
I can't remember.
Alright?
What was that called?
What? No, that's the motivation. You have to create the whole app and then search it. Create the whole app for yourself. And search whatever you want.
Yes.
What?
I was like, I knew it.
Same time, I know. I was like, it's gotta be that.
Oh, that's typing. Alright, so that's the last exercise. Go ahead and give it a try. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Thursday.
I was hungry, sir. I need to get myself some gruel.
Some what?
A bowl of gruel.